Minato and Kushina's sacrifice was one of those events that set the tone of the Naruto series. Much of Naruto's story revolves around loneliness and its effects on people. Naruto, as a story, could and would not have been the same without their sacrifice, and sometimes I wonder if it was exactly needed at that moment. Like, I've seen worse off Jinchuriki than Kushina survive having their tailed beast put back in, and I question why it needed to be the Reaper death seal of all things that Minato used. But all the same, if Kushina and Minato hadn't died, the series would have been very different. But still, my heart bleeds for them. They thought they would never get to see who Naruto grew into. And while they kind of did in some weird magic chakra BS way, they never got to experience what kind of life he lived. So I want to do a video about something like that. I want to do a video where Minato gets to revive and see what kind of life Naruto will live. Welcome to the Amagi. Only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. There he was, floating in darkness, the blackness of the Shinigami's stomach, the place where he would spend untold centuries or perhaps eternity. There were none that he could see around him, and his only companion in the world was the Ninetales. And given that he was his only companion as well, all they had was each other. The two weren't getting along that well, but honestly, that was okay. They had eternity to get to know each other, and considering that one was the other's only companion, there was at least some solace in that. All they could do was spend time with each other, and that desperation led to them becoming at least acquainted. It didn't hurt that Minato apparently took the non-confrontational half for himself. As much as he loved the ease of befriending this Kurama, he wished he could just take it all back and get the other half instead. Not because he didn't love Yin, he just knew that Yang was going to cause his son no end of troubles. As Minato hovered in that darkness, staring off into infinity as though he were eternally floating on a sea of nothingness, he couldn't help but think of his family, who he would never see again. Kushina, Naruto. He never got the opportunity to see the kind of man he would become. Frankly, that was the most tragic thing. He had been so excited. From the day Kushina told him about Naruto's conception to the day of his birth, Minato had been looking forward to seeing Naruto and experiencing all those things that fathers and sons did. He was looking forward to bonding with him, and now that chance was gone. It made him extraordinarily sad. Thinking on all the things he was missing out on, tears unintentionally began to rise to his eyes and run from his cheek. "What's wrong?" Yin asked within him. "Oh, it's nothing. I'm just thinking of everything I'm missing right now. Kushina, Naruto." "Well, maybe you now feel a little bit of what I've felt through the years," the beast said in an antagonistic way. "Being sealed inside the Shinigami is nothing new. It's no different to me than what I experienced before. The only difference is that now I know there's no hope of escape." Honestly, Minato began to feel bad about it. Did you have a family too? Or loved ones you left behind? "No, of course not. I don't even think tailed beasts are capable of reproducing. At least, I haven't. And I've also never bonded well with humans. So the only thing I'm missing from before I was sealed is my own personal freedom. I suppose in that way, I can't understand why you would do what you did. Who would voluntarily give up their freedom like that? Was it to spite me?" Yin asked. Minato shook his head. "No, it was out of love for my village, for Kushina and Naruto. If I had to do it again, I would, just for them." "I guess I just can't understand that," Yin said. "Well, I mean, we've got all the time in the world to talk about it, but I guess I'm just sad because I won't get to watch Naruto grow up." As silence passed for a moment longer, Minato suddenly felt as though he wasn't alone. As he looked around, he saw it, the same Shinigami he had summoned. How was it possible for the creature to be inside its own stomach? He didn't know, but it was there. It drifted closer to him and hovered just in front of him. Minato swallowed. The Shinigami, for the first time, spoke to him. "You wish to see," it said. Minato nodded. "I want to see what my son grows into, what his life will be like." The Shinigami was silent for a moment before speaking again. "I can make this so, but only temporarily," it said. "And with rules." Minato's interest was piqued. "Of course," he said. "What are the rules?" The Shinigami spoke. "You may not tell anyone that you are Minato Namikaze, and you may not do anything that will in some way compromise the seal you placed on yourself. This is not a chance for escape. This is a chance to see what your life brought, which is only fair in my eyes.
And once you've adequately experienced the situation, I will return you to this place. A short reprieve, and a chance to build memories to keep you sane. Do you understand these terms and conditions?
Minato nodded. The Shinigami extended its hand. Minato took this hand and shook it. The Shinigami's eternal smile widened ever so slightly.
Good. Your name will be Kiryu, for you are but a sojourner in a land that is no longer your home.
Suddenly, from the black darkness below them, a brilliant white light shone up, changing the color of the very eternity around them. A moment later, a hand shot up from the dirt. Minato began to pull himself out. With a gasp, he took in the first true breath of oxygen since he perished. His form was different than what he had prior. He didn't look like himself, but seemed as though his body was entirely new. His hair was no longer golden, but a more natural brown, and his face was not his own. Being about the same age as an academy student, he pulled himself free from the ground. Crawling out on his hands and knees, he looked back at the hole he had pulled himself from and saw that it was not deep, a shallow indentation perfectly shaped like a human. From the dirt, a new body had formed to give him a new chance to live. Standing up, he recognized his apparent lack of vesture and knew that this must be the first issue he solved. The spiritual trauma of having been ripped from the ether and stuffed into a new body left his mind a bit groggy, but he remembered the name he was supposed to have, Kiryu. And so, upon taking to a treetop and looking out over the vastness of nature, he noticed in the distance a village. His village. Konoha. That was the direction in which he would head. It was nighttime, and so sneaking into the village wouldn't be so hard. Finding a clothesline, he took from it an outfit that seemed to fit, and took for himself a set of shoes. He didn't have anything to offer the kind people who he had just robbed, so the best he could do was leave a note for them, thanking them, explaining that he was homeless and needed a new set of clothes, apologizing for the theft, and thanking them for the opportunity. From here, he wandered around. The village had certainly changed in the years since he'd last been here, having rebuilt. All the same, the Hokage's monument had yet to be changed, meaning either they stopped etching new Kage into the monument, or Hiruzen had taken his place. Either way, Minato continued moving. A part of him began to question, how am I ever going to find Naruto? It was then that the voice of Yin, who apparently was still inside of him, spoke.
Don't forget, Yang is in him. I can possibly locate Naruto through him.
From this, Yin led Minato deeper into the village, giving him instructions on which way to turn like a GPS. Eventually, they stopped in front of an apartment building.
He's in there somewhere,
Yin said. Minato stood there silently. Looking back at a building, he decided to scale it and wait out the night. He wanted to see his son for himself. So they waited for the rest of the night until the sun rose. All the while, Minato spoke on the situation. I don't understand the Shinigami's decision. Does it do this commonly, or is this a special case? And if it's a special case, then for what reason did it choose me of all people?
I don't know, Minato, Yin said. Maybe it respects you. Your decision to utilize the Reaper Death Seal was one you made out of selfless intent. A hard decision that saw you choosing to sacrifice your family life to protect others. Maybe that's why the Shinigami took pity on you and gave you a chance.
Minato questioned it and nodded. Perhaps. As the orange light came over the rooftops, the sun rising from the horizon, the village began to wake. It had been quite some time since Minato had been in a mortal body. He began to have urges he hadn't felt in years, like the urge to eat, and currently, even greater, the urge to sleep. Minato's eyes began to drift as his mind had since forgotten how to command it to stay awake. It was only when Yin Kurama spiritually slapped him awake did Minato come back to the land of awareness. Huh?
He's here, moron, Kurama said.
Minato looked over the side of the building to see a boy standing at the exit, wearing a set of shorts and a baggy white shirt depicting the Will of Fire on the front and on each of the sleeves. Minato's eyes sparkled as he looked on. He looks just like me, he said, his words hitching in his throat.
You're not gonna cry, are you?
Yin asked with a smirk. I'll let you know when I decide, Minato said. Jumping down to the ground, he followed Naruto on foot to see him enter the academy. Minato looked around and proceeded to make his way to the Hokage's office. Upon admittance, he remained silent to see Hiruzen there. It had been so long since he'd seen his old friend. The silence drew Hiruzen's attention.
Do you need something?
Minato nodded. Yeah, I wanted to sign up for the Ninja Academy, he said. I'm new to this village, and since I've got nowhere to go, I was thinking maybe the best way for me to survive is to help in any way I can. Hiruzen looked up.
You're new here.
Welcome. Where are your parents, though? I don't have any, sir, Minato said. Technically, this was true. This was a fresh body formed of dirt that woke up only the night before. Technically, he didn't have a mom or dad.
So you're by yourself. How unfortunate. Give me a second.
Hiruzen stood and walked to a cabinet and opened it. He began to pull out papers. Sitting back at his desk, he began to write on them quietly.
What is your name?
Hiruzen asked. Minato almost slipped up and said his real name, but then he remembered the name the Shinigami gave him. It's Kiryu.
Spelled with the kanji for tree and dragon? He asked.
No, sir. Its kanji means to sojourn.
Ah, so we're working with aliases,
Hiruzen said as he wrote it down. No, sir, he said, nearly falling to panic. This was the name given to me by the person who brought me into this world. His words were technically correct. All the same, Hiruzen looked at him out of the corner of his eye as if to say he didn't believe him.
Whether it's an alias or not makes no difference. If that's the name you want to go with here, then that's what we'll do.
Aren't you afraid I could be a spy or something? Minato asked. Hiruzen looked over his glasses. Are you a spy? Minato shook his head. Hiruzen nodded.
Then no issue.
Minato would be given a room number in one of the disenfranchised children housing partnered apartment buildings, where he would be told to give them that slip of paper upon entering. He then spoke.
You've also been signed up for the academy. I believe they have only freshly started their day. If you'd like, I could introduce you.
Minato smiled and nodded. I would be very grateful, he said. Hiruzen would walk with him to the classroom. Offering a knock at the door, Irika would open up and greet Hiruzen. Lord Third, to what do we owe the honor?
We have a new student today who wishes to join your class. Will this be a problem?
Irika shook his head. No problem at all. He may come in and introduce himself and I'll get him a seat. Hiruzen smiled.
I trust you'll make him feel at home. I'll be off then.
Hiruzen then left. Minato stood there as Irika invited him in. It had been years since he had done something like this, and he was interested in re-experiencing everything from the past. Entering the room, he stood before the masses of kids, some of which he could recognize due to knowing their parents. Irika grabbed the class's attention. Everyone, eyes up! As they focused on Irika, he spoke. We've got a new student joining us today. He looked at Minato. Feel free to introduce yourself. My name is Kiryu, he said.
Robo-Dragon,
one of the students shouted out. That's one possible translation of the name, Irika said. Good job, Butch. However, Kiryu's name here is more translated like one who journeys or is a passerby. Minato offered a bow of greeting. Irika moved back to the blackboard. You're free to find a place to sit, Kiryu, he said. Minato nodded. Immediately his eyes searched for Naruto. When he saw him, he was both grateful and saddened, as he saw the other side of the desk was empty. Well, time to change that, Minato thought to himself. Making his way up the stairs, he came to Naruto's desk. Standing by it, he spoke. Excuse me. Naruto turned to look at him. Minato put on as kind of a smile as humanly possible. Is this seat taken? Would you mind if I sit here? Naruto shrugged. It's a free land. Minato slid into the seat and sat beside Naruto. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Kiryu. Minato extended his hand to Naruto. Naruto ignored it and began to look out the window. Minato withdrew his hand from the awkward air between them and began to silently focus on the class. His mind was everywhere but the lessons, though. All things considered, Minato already knew everything being taught here, so there was no incentive to really pay attention save for staying aware for Naruto's sake. The silence was deafening between them, but Minato wouldn't give up. As lunchtime rolled around and Minato got some lunch, he looked for Naruto's table. Once more, Naruto was by himself. Minato walked over. Mind if I join you? Naruto looked up at him with confusion and shrugged again. Minato sat down in front of Naruto and began to eat. So, tell me about yourself. Naruto looked at Minato with a questioning glance. Let's talk about ourselves. I want to get to know you, he said. Why? Because I want to be your friend. Naruto, finishing off his food, stuffed the remains of his sandwich in his mouth and stood before walking away. Minato was confused. Had it been something he said? Tough luck, Yin said from within. Turns out your son's an ass. He's just probably not used to it. Give him time to warm up. Just make sure you're being smart, Minato, Kurama said. After lunch, class continued, and as they began to leave the academy for the day, Minato waited outside for Naruto. When Naruto eventually appeared, Minato approached him. When he did, he spoke. Hi, what you up to? He asked. Going home, was Naruto's only response. Can I join you? He asked. Naruto stopped and looked at Minato. What's your deal? Naruto asked. Got a crush on me or something? Leave me alone. No, I'm new here, and I just kinda wanted to make some friends. Well, go be friends with someone else, Naruto said as he walked away. As Minato watched him go, Yin said from within,
"Ouch, burn. Maybe the Shinigami is a crueler spirit than I gave it credit for, cause this is just sad."
"You almost sound like you're enjoying it," Minato said.
"Well, maybe a little. Look, we may be stuck together for eternity and getting along and all that jazz, but that doesn't mean I don't still hold a grudge against you."
A silence passed before Kurama spoke again.
"Look, you said you wanted to see your son and how he grows up. Well, now you are. The Shinigami never said it would be a magical experience. You wanted to see it. Now you are, and you'll have to be the one to live with it all."
"I know that, but frankly, I'm at least a little surprised, you know?" Minato said. "I kinda hope Naruto might want to be friends with me. Maybe that we might be able to have that father-son relationship we both missed out on."
"And will continue to miss out on. Even if he becomes your friend, that doesn't mean you can spill your guts about who you are. First off, he'd never believe you, and second, that would be violating the Shinigami's rules and see you immediately pulled back into limbo. What you're doing now, Namikaze, is pretty much the only thing you can do."
And so, without anything else to say, Minato went to his new apartment building. Showing the papers, he got to enter the room that was given to him to find it fully furnished and even stocked with some food for a start. Beyond this, there was an envelope on the table that, upon opening, revealed to Minato the first installment of his monthly allowance.
"Wow, kids sure do have it easy these days," Kurama said,
looking at all those zeros. "Not really. This is the standard program that's been in effect ever since the first Hokage. We don't have a proper orphanage system because such a thing often leads to events that we can't control. We don't know who will adopt them or what they might do."
"So the better answer is to simply leave the kids alone to fend for themselves? Even if you do pay them, kids are irresponsible. Who's gonna discipline them?"
"Honestly, you make a good point," Minato said. "But it's just the way it's always been. Wars used to pop up yearly, and you never knew when someone might die. I think it was in order to spare the children losing parents again."
"Then why didn't you just say so?"
Yin said. Minato looked at the check. A note within said that this came with a starter bonus to help Minato get some clothes that would fit. And so, that's what Minato did. He went out and got himself some clothes for going out and a couple sets of loungewear. He then began his first night by himself. He had to admit that it was strange to be in an apartment by himself again. It had been years since he'd experienced this. "It's weird sleeping alone," Minato said.
"You're not sleeping alone, honey,"
Yin said with a snicker. Minato rolled his eyes. "Serves me right for thinking you'd understand."
"Not your therapist, kiddo. I couldn't care less if you miss your mommy. Kinda think it serves you right. Gives you just a taste of what I've had to live through for 100 years. You can't imagine the kinda hell I've been going through. The time you've spent in the Shinigami with me is but a taste of the torture I've been experiencing, and will continue to experience thanks to you and your precious village. I hate to admit this, Minato, but you made the right call sealing me up, because if I had been allowed to escape that day when Naruto was born, I'd have killed everyone. I hate him that bad. At this point, the best I can do is hope that the Shinigami's spell is broken at some point, and when you pass on to the afterlife, I'll just reform somewhere else and finally be free. Then I may or may not cause some real carnage."
"Are you gonna make me go get the mask and break it?" Minato asked. The immediate shiver of terror was priceless.
"I forgive Konoha and all its people and will never retaliate. I'm a good boy," Yin said.
As Minato laid there, he felt the call of dreams beckoning him to sleep. However, before he relented, he spoke. "Do you think there's any chance we'll ever be able to befriend Naruto?"
"Honestly, I don't know. He seems kinda ornery to me. My best advice is to just give him space. Keep tabs on him, sure, but give him space and let him see if he's really willing to befriend you instead of the other way around."
"Could be that he's just been treated badly. That was honestly the one thing I wanted Hiruzen not to let happen."
"Well, you trusted a human and got burned. Seems relatable," Yin said. "Just don't let it eat at you. Even if he isn't your friend, doesn't mean he never will be. And even if he isn't, at the very least you got to see your son one last time. That should be some sort of consolation, right?"
Minato thought about it. "I guess that's right." And so, during the next day at school, Minato gave Naruto space. He wouldn't force himself to sit with Naruto. He was sitting near Naruto's tables, but was always away from it. Naruto didn't seem to mind much. Eventually, graduation happened and Naruto got left back. However, Naruto was informed that he got to take the test again. If he got it right, he would be admitted to become a shinobi. Minato would follow Naruto home one day. The depressed boy was trying to think up some way to cheat to get what he wanted. He had been told by Mizuki that he could steal a scroll to teach him how to do it, but before he could commit to the idea, there was a knock at his door. Naruto opened it up to see Minato there.
"What are you doing here, Kiryu?"
Naruto asked. "Sorry to disturb you. I know you probably just wanted some space, but I saw you had some trouble with your clone jutsu today. I wanted to help you get ready for the next try."
"What could you teach me?"
Naruto asked. Minato put his hands together and suddenly clones appeared before him. These clones high-fived each other with an audible slapping sound before touching the door, offering some resistance. "These clones are tangible?" he questioned. Minato nodded. "This is an advanced form of the clone jutsu. It's called the shadow clone jutsu, and is by far more impressive and useful than the other version. And the best part is, it's not that much harder to perform. I could teach it to you if you like," Minato said. "What's the catch?" Naruto asked. Minato shook his head. "No catch, just a little knowledge shared between two fellow shinobi." Naruto thought about it. "Give me a second to get my shoes." Naruto would go back inside and grab his shoes, and together he and Minato would head out to the training area, where he would stand there ready to teach. From here, he'd begin to explain the process and point out the flaws in Naruto's usage. He told him that the reason his clones weren't coming out right was because he wasn't focusing enough. There weren't enough details given. It wasn't enough just to make a clone, you had to carve out its appearance personally, as an offshoot of the transformation jutsu, but instead of transforming your body into something else, you were transforming chakra and thin air into something, and you had to know what it was you were creating to be able to make it work. For that purpose, Minato pulled out a mirror. With this, you can get a kind of idea for what you look like. Minato would then use the shadow clone jutsu to make a perfect clone of himself. He then turned to Naruto. "Your turn." Naruto would focus and try his best to make a clone of proper shape. Through his concentration, the fruits of his labor were born. A simple misunderstanding was all that was holding him back. Naruto managed to make a healthy shadow clone. Upon doing it, he jumped up and down in excitement, hugging Minato. "Thank you, thank you, thank you," he shouted. Minato laughed. "No problem, but when you present this to Irika, I'd suggest that you mirror your clone again. Currently, all the things on your left side are on the clone's right side. Don't actually mirror yourself, just know what goes where, and it shouldn't be hard to make multiples of these." Naruto formed another shadow clone, and this time with the proper shape. "I can't thank you enough," Naruto said. "It's fine, just make sure you pass tomorrow." And you know what? Naruto did. Because of that, and the fact that Minato seemed to be abnormally skilled, they were able to graduate from the academy. And because of that, they'd be assigned to teams. However, because there was no team with an opening for Minato, Hiruzen decided to just place him on the same team as Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, a team that had Kakashi as his Jonin. When Kakashi entered the room, Minato was surprised and couldn't help but stare at the student that used to be his. Naruto was already playing pranks, but none of that mattered. This was the first time since he first saw Naruto that Minato felt he might cry. Kakashi noticed and spoke up. "What, am I that scary?" he asked. Minato suddenly pulled himself back together with a smile and shook his head. "You look incredibly tough, but I don't think you're scary." "Then you don't know me well enough yet." Taking them outside, Kakashi began to ask them about their goals, dreams, and all the standard stuff. Naruto, as impatient and boisterous as ever, took his chance first, telling everyone exactly what he was going to do. How he wanted to be Hokage and have everyone respect him. Sakura would just use her turn to simp for Sasuke, and Sasuke, well, his turn left everyone's jaws on the floor when he mentioned he wanted to kill someone. "What could this person have done to you to make you want to kill them so badly?" Minato asked. "They killed everyone in my clan but me," Sasuke said. Minato was a little taken off guard when Sasuke said that, trying to process it. "Wait, the Uchiha clan?" Kakashi nodded. "Yes, Sasuke is from the Uchiha clan." You mean the Uchiha are eradicated? When did that happen? Why?" "Did you not know?" Kakashi asked. Minato shook his head. "News to me." "It happened 5 years ago, idiot. How could you not know by now?" Sasuke asked. "I'm new to this village," Minato said. Kakashi waved his hand. "It's okay, Kiryu. I wouldn't let it bother me. You just didn't know." Minato's gaze fell down to the cement below his feet as he was lost in thought. How could the Uchiha have been murdered? He had friends in that clan. Powerful shinobi that made up a vast amount of Konoha's greatest warriors. What single man could possibly solo the entire group? It was then that Kakashi called Minato back to the present. "Earth to Kiryu. Do you read me?" Minato looked up. "Eh?" Kakashi spoke. "What about you? What are your goals, dreams, etc.?" Minato thought. He wasn't sure what he could say. "Well, you guys already know my name. It's Kiryu. As for what I guess I like..." He thought about it. He couldn't exactly say Kushina's cooking, so he needed to grab what she so often cooked instead. "Salt ramen." "Like me," Naruto said. "Yes, Naruto, very much like you. As for my dreams, my goals, they're non-traditional. I just want to see to it that this village has a good future, and that the next generation can rise and live a life better than ours." Kakashi nodded. "Noble dream. But as you know, there is only supposed to be 3 people on the team, and we've been assigned 4. That's not gonna fly. The Shinobi Guidebook says that there can only be 1 mentor and 3 students. Any more than 3 and we're running the risk of spreading the mentor too thin. And so, I'm going to be doing a bit of a test. Survival of the fittest. Follow me. Leading them out to the middle of nowhere, he held up not 2, but 3 bells. Minato immediately knew what this was. He wanted to blurt out, "You're doing it! You're actually doing it! You're keeping the tradition alive!" But that might have ran afoul of the Shinigami's rules, so he remained silent. The job here is to get a bell. If you get 1 bell, your place on the team is solidified. And if you get more than 1, then well, you get to choose who your teammates are. And what if I don't want any of these as my teammates? Sasuke asked. Kakashi looked at him. Then I'll choose for you. Now, come at me when you're ready. Naruto launched into the attack all on his own, rash as ever. But he got what he deserved. Kakashi was sure to teach him a lesson. Next was Sasuke, who, despite making the same mistake as Naruto, fared a lot better. Sakura just sort of stood there. Minato walked to her, not willing to break the test due to his meta-knowledge. What do you think we should do, Sakura? He asked. She looked at him. I'm not sure. He seems so strong. Minato nodded. Yeah, there's no way I could ever take him on alone, he said, offering a slight hint at the goal of this mission, hoping she'd catch on. She didn't seem to, so he took a step back and waited to see if that seed sprouted. As it became obvious that they were going to fail, Kakashi took them all to the side and told them the honest truth, saying that the entire exercise was one of teamwork, and if they wanted to pass, they needed to work together and be willing to sacrifice one of themselves for the team. Having tied up Naruto for trying to steal food, they were commanded not to feed him lest they all fail. And so, Minato went about his lunch, trying to come up with a way to rally the team and salvage this. That's when he looked up and saw Sasuke and Sakura feeding Naruto. Wait, what are you doing? He asked. What does it look like? We're feeding him, Sasuke said. But what about what Kakashi said? Minato asked. Screw what Kakashi said. If he wants us to work as a team, then we'll all need to work together, and that includes Naruto. And Naruto won't be able to work alongside us if he can't even stand due to hunger. Minato understood. Considering that everyone on his team was feeding Naruto at this point, whether he fed or didn't feed Naruto wasn't an issue anymore. If caught, the whole team would fail. So there was nothing left to lose. Minato too began to feed him, but of course they would all be caught. Kakashi jump scare caused Minato to fall to the ground laughing. He got us, Minato said, laughing still in his ever jovial and playful sort of way. Kakashi was creeped out, but he couldn't help but feel as though he had heard that laugh somewhere before. It was nostalgic and triggered a memory in his head that he couldn't explain. Disregarding Minato, Kakashi spoke. You 4 all disobeyed my orders to feed Naruto, and you know what they say about those who disobey orders. They're scum. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura all said in unison. Kakashi nodded. Indeed, they're scum. However, those who would abandon even one of their friends are worse than scum. And because you all put yourselves at risk to save one of your teammates, I'm gonna pass you all. Everyone celebrated. As Minato calmed down, he reflected on Kakashi's character here. Something had happened to Kakashi in the time since Minato's death. He honestly psyched him out a bit. He assumed that Kakashi was going to be a hard ass on them as always, but he had actually mellowed out. Minato was very surprised by this. Offering a smile, he was glad to know that somehow Kakashi had healed and had become even wiser. And now Minato couldn't wait to see what would become of Team 7 next. And that's where I'm going to call it for the day. This video was one I've been looking forward to doing for quite some time. The idea of Minato going undercover to see the future of his son and how the village fared, kinda like the movie Ghost, I guess, but heavily altered. I'm sure there's a more accurate movie reference I could make, but the only thing coming to mind right now is Ghost. Probably because I was listening to the police earlier. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this story. I'd like to continue it. Leave a comment down below and tell us what else you'd like to see in the next chapter. And don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to show your support for the channel. Ring the bell to be notified of other videos like this one and these other 2 on your screen right here. Until next time, peace out.